Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys, brought to you by the National Hockey Now Network. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, presented by National Hockey Now. Friday, April 28th, Ian Cameron and Alex B. Smith with you, ready to break down this Friday NHL Stanley Cup playoffs card. We've got 4 Game 6 matchups, 4 elimination games on tap tonight. So it's an exciting Friday night of NHL hockey on tap tonight, and we're looking forward to it. It was supposed to be a full house, but it might just be Alex and I. Jimmy to be determined. Nate had an emergency at work. Apparently there's some layoffs going on with his place of work. So it's a shit show going on at his place of employment. So he's tending to that. So it could be just Alex and I today. But first, before we get to the Friday games and preview those, we have to talk about last night. And let's start in New Jersey, because, you know, this has been a remarkable 3-game turnaround for the New Jersey Devils. When you factor in that the Rangers looked so dominant and so thoroughly the better team in the first 2 games of that series, winning 5-1 in Game 1 and in Game 2 in New Jersey in that series. And ever since then, you know, it has been a completely different 360-degree switch in this series. You know, Akira Schmid and the goalie change to spark things for New Jersey's part of the turning point. Certainly the Devils as a team defensively, I think they've realized you have to up your game to a certain level in terms of compete, in terms of defensive awareness and responsibility, in terms of physicality. And the Devils have definitely done that in the last 3 games. And meanwhile, the Rangers look meek, timid, almost like they're just there to participate in the series, not engage in the series, not take on the challenge. I mean, it has looked like a very disengaged, soft, very, very staggered, and quite honestly shook Rangers team right now in all facets. And even last night in the 23 shots and 23 save shutout that Akira Schmid had for the New Jersey Devils, I thought it was way too individualistic with the Rangers offensively. The power play has gone completely to shit in the last 3 games. Everybody's trying to do their own thing. There's way too much overthinking, overpassing. All of a sudden, Mika Zibanejad's had just a brutal series for the New York Rangers. And it's not just him. Even Chris Kreider, who was just, you know, a tower of power early in the series, they've contained him now all of a sudden, the Devils. The big acquisitions at the deadline, Patrick Kane and Vladimir Tarasenko, look way below average, way below their standard, especially in the last few games. It's just a collective and look, their defense coughing up the puck, and look, that's what exactly led to the shorthanded goal that the Devils scored last night to really put that game away. And I don't know if the Rangers are going to get it back on the rails. You know, I kind of gave them last night to show me that they have the experience and the poise and the maturity and going through the playoff wars before, which many of these players have done, to show me that they could turn this thing around. And they still didn't. And they were completely, again, controlled, dominated, and outclassed by the New Jersey Devils. And now they have the prospect of going back to Madison Square Garden, where they've yet to win in this series, to save their season on Saturday night. So just a stunning reversal in the last 3 games in this series. And as someone that's made a case for the Rangers in this series, that backed the Rangers last night in multiple ways, and has a series bet on them, not too impressed, not too happy am I about what we're seeing with the blue shirts.
No, it's a mess. And when you talk about all this talent, and the thing that I touted, we all touted, anybody who liked the Rangers in the series or liked them to win the conference or the cup, we all said, as soon as they get all these pieces together, they're going to have a lethal power play. And we saw bits and pieces of that in the regular season, but for some reason they have gone completely cold. I should say for some
2
reason.
games and nothing since. That's crazy.
Right. I was going to say, we shouldn't say it for no reason. There is a big reason for that. And the reason has been the defensive play of the New Jersey Devils. And Akira Schmid plays a factor into that role. Obviously, it's not by happenstance you get a 23 save shutout. He played well. Okay. But at the same time, we've seen way more active sticks breaking up passes. We've seen way more, we've seen much better positioning from New Jersey. So the shot selection hasn't been as great for the Rangers in the last three losses. And just overall, just shot output, shot volume has been down as far as I'm concerned. This Ranger team should not be shooting less than 30 shots a game. They should be getting a minimum of 30 shots on goal against any goaltender, as far as I'm concerned, with this kind of offensive talent. They're just not doing that. And, you look now, like you said, is it kind of a too many cooks scenario? The fact that you have all this talent with Zibanejad and Kreider and Kane and Panarin, that, there's not enough facilitators, even though you have guys that can play the facilitator role. But, I thought this was something that was kind of worked out already, and it seemed to be rearing its ugly head. You have, a tons of quality and talent, but you just can't put it together. And maybe this is a Gallant issue. Maybe this is the reason why we've seen Gallant get unceremoniously fired in every stop he's been at, because of things like this. He's not, creative enough. And it's something we can talk about with a lot of coaches, and I'll talk about it with another specific coach a little bit later, revolving a game last night. But these are some big issues that should not be happening right now for the Rangers. It's not just Shesterkin's fault. The defense hasn't been great, but it's been more than serviceable enough when you look at the offense. Fine, yeah, you should be able to have a game where you allow 3 or 4 goals, but you have the offense to score 4 or 5 every night. And if you aren't doing that at this key of a point, then it just seems like they're just lost right now. This is a series that the Rangers have lost, not as necessarily a series that the Devils are winning.
Yeah, and they've got one more chance to get the train back. You're right about how, and John Massey pointed this out to me. Rangers fan, obviously, who loves the team, watches them every game. He actually DM'd me during this, says Gerard Gallant doesn't make enough adjustments. He said that. That's from his words. And my goodness, I mean, we're starting to see definitely some signs of that. But there's no adjustments in the world that are going to change things unless your top 10 tier talent steps to the forefront. And that's what's going to have to happen for the Rangers. And it's what's not happened for them here in the last 3 games of this series. Speaking of top-tier talent not stepping to the forefront, it's been this way for 5-6 years and counting with the Toronto Maple Leafs. And once again last night, I can't even say I'm surprised. Like I said on Twitter, not so in quotations, believable. Not so in quotations, believable with what we saw from the Toronto Maple Leafs last night. What, they failed to close out a series? You got to be shitting me. I never saw that one coming. Never in a million years could have thought this team was possible of that. Only 0-11 now, this franchise, since 2013 in playoff clinching games with a chance to eliminate an opponent. How bad is that? How embarrassing is that, by the way? 0-11. Yeah. You think you would luck your way into finishing off one of these series in the last decade? You'd luck your way. You'd lucky bounce your way with the puck or a bad call or some shit to get one of these series clinched. 0-11 since 2013, 0-10 with this core. And I'm talking about Matthews, Marner, Nylander, Tavares. With that core 4, 0-10. The 0-11, the 11th one was from that Bruins Game 7 back in 2013, which none of these players were a part of that. But even with just this core alone, 0-10 in their last 10 games when trying to eliminate their opponent in a playoff series clinching game. That is remarkable. That is stunning ineptitude.
Yeah, it's disgraceful. That's the only word for it in my eyes. Disgraceful. In 10 years, you've had 11 chances to close out series and you lose every single one of them. It's borderline disgraceful. And when you start talking about, like I said, these big stars, Marner and Matthews, and just no killer instinct. It's something you'll hear me probably say 100 times between now and the very last game of the Stanley Cup final regarding closing out series. Teams that win have killer instinct. The Toronto Maple Leafs do not have that, and now they have woken the giant. And I'm not even talking about the Tampa Bay Lightning because I still don't trust the Tampa Bay Lightning, but I trusted Andrei Vasilevsky. And now at a 3-2 series, you giving Vasilevsky 1 to 2 games to steal to get his team to the next round. Chances are he's going to do that, because he's proven that his track record in closing out games is twice as good as the entire Toronto Maple Leafs organization. That should tell you something. So, like I said, yeah, we shouldn't be shocked by this. I'm upset because I had money on it. That's the only reason why. Couldn't give a fuck now. I hope Toronto loses 10-0 in game 6 and 7. as far as I'm concerned. But from a betting standpoint, I'm furious because of the fact that this is, a Leafs team on paper that should be better than where they are year after year, and they just can't put it together. And now they're going to let Tampa Bay, a team you do not give second and third and fourth chances to at any point of the year, but especially in the playoffs, new life.
And that's exactly what the Tampa Bay Lightning have now is new life. And you better believe that sphincter for the Toronto Maple Leafs is tightening like you wouldn't fucking believe going into Game 6 now on Saturday night. And they planted the seed of doubt again. That's all it takes. I said if Tampa wins Game 5 last night, which they did, all it's going to take is that one loss, that first loss again, with a chance to eliminate an opponent for Toronto to plant that seed of doubt, get them a little nervous, a little tight. And, you really expect Toronto to win 3 now at home in Tampa, in this series and even the 2 wins they got in Tampa were fortunate because they got outplayed and they came back, in both of those games. So, it's asking a lot to say we can finish this series in 6 in Tampa and say we can beat Tampa 3 in a row in their building. That's not going to be easy to do, even in a first round where the road teams have dominated here. But last night, look, what's bothersome too is they cannot withstand prosperity. Who would have thunk that? We know that this Leaf team can't withstand prosperity. There's no greater indication of that than you get the first goal from Morgan Riley, 1-0, crowds into it, and I thought, wow, what a perfect start for the Leafs. They can't even get onto the ice for the next shift without giving up the tying goal. Like, you talk about giving the momentum right back, and it was just an absolutely horrendous defensive breakdown. Nobody could find the puck. It was soft coverage in front of the net. And look, he's getting ripped to shreds over the last 12 hours since last night's game. But Justin Hall, I don't know, man. I think we're at the point we have to take him out of the lineup. I think so. When he's been on the ice for what? I'm seeing like 15 or 16 goals for Tampa Bay. I'm seeing shit on Twitter that Tampa Bay is like 14-2 or something in this series when Justin Hall is on the ice for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I mean, don't you have to make a change? You've got a glut of defensemen. All we talk about is this depth that they acquired on the blue line. Well, why don't we fucking see some of it when someone's underperforming? Put a Liljegren in there. The one thing the Leafs need, Bissonnette said it on the broadcast, they need better forecheck and they need better puck movement from the blue line to the forwards to get the attack started because they're being hemmed in too much in the latter games of this series. Timothy Liljegren, hell, even an Eric Gustafsson, who they got at the trade deadline, will help that. And that's exactly what they need some of. So some of this falls on Sheldon Keefe too. And there's people say that he's got to step up his coaching game because John Cooper last year, got the better of him. And now he's right back into this series now, John Cooper against Sheldon Keefe. And another thing about Sheldon too, and I've been good with Sheldon. I've never had an issue with him. I think he's done a nice job overall. But now there's some blemishes that are starting to show up, and they're showing up again for him, unfortunately, at the worst time possible when you're trying to win a series. I don't need to fucking see when I'm down at home in a game where I'm trying to finish a series. I don't need to see fucking Aston Reese, Kampf, and Lafferty every other shift, the fourth line. And I was still seeing that in the third period last night. I don't need to see that. Where's my big guns? Where the hell's my best players? Why aren't I not getting them on the ice every other shift? Why am I not getting them more ice time in the third period when I need to go? You think those 3 guys are going to get you a big-time goal when you're trailing? No, that falls on your best talent, your best players. Why are you not playing them more? Why are you fucking still going line by line by line in a spot like that last night? In the third. I don't need Aston Reese on my screen every other shift in the third period when I'm trailing in a game that I know damn well if I lose it, I'm giving the other team life, and all those old demons of the past and choke jobs of the past and failures of the past and all these epic disappointments of the past are going to come right back rooting up from the ground again if we lose this game. And I got to see the fourth line every other shift. They can't do squat offensively, and I'm trailing in the game. I'm trailing in that third period, and I'm seeing that line out every other shift. It's ridiculous. Come on, Sheldon. You got to coach better than that, period.
That's a telling sign to me. That's a telling sign to me that he's expecting spark and energy, and he needs that from his lineup, and he's relying on his fourth line guys to do that when you need to be doing that with your first line guys. That's telling me that he can't get the spark and energy he needs from his first line guys, and that's a humongous problem.
That might be true. It seems that way to me. Why are you playing them that much? Why is the Matthews line not out that often? Why is the second line not out that often? So, yeah, it's absolutely it's remarkable. But like I say, I mean, it's believable. Like I say, not so unbelievable. And the series is going back to Game 6. And look, Samsonov's got to play a little bit better too. That Mikey Asimont goal can't go in, so he had to stop that. That was a bad goal. Third goal, I don't blame him much. I think he ran into one of his teammates collided. One of his teammates collided with him right there on the Nick Paul goal that made it 3-1. So yeah, just unfortunate. And here we go again with the Leafs. They're going to put their fucking tortured fan base through the torture chamber one more time with another, will we even win this series? And by the way, like they were good early in the game. The Toronto fans, the crowd last night at Scotiabank Arena, especially when Riley got the first goal. But once Tampa got the 2-1 goal, you could hear a fucking pin drop the rest of the game at Scotiabank Arena. There was no ambiance. There was no life. There was no energy, and it filtered down to the players. Yet again, you mean the crowd once again takes their team out of the game? Shocking in Toronto that happened. I can't believe it. It's only been happening now for many years in this corporate bigwig crowd that they have. And I love what the TNT crew said during the game last night, and they are right as rain, that this is a corporate crowd, and we're going to bring up the clip right now here for everybody. I thought it was absolutely hilarious here. We'll put it back to the beginning. Here it is. This is Biz, Colby Armstrong, Anson Carter, Liam McHugh talking about the corporate crowd, and in hilarious fashion, by the way.
Traditionally, usually pretty quiet in Toronto inside that rink. I found playing there too, but
it's all corporate.
Yeah, it's a lot of corporate seats in there. Yeah,
they're all eating sushi in their boxes underneath.
Like, oh, what did you? How many did you sell?
No, the yacht club.
Yacht club.
I think I saw what was it, 5 minutes into the third. Is that the new Oyster Perpetual? Oh.
Well, and oddly enough, the Tampa Bay Arena is
pass me the Chardonnay. The lower bowl was empty.
I think you have to go pinky up.
Yeah.
Where's my caviar? Should we keep going, or should we?
I mean, listen, we got cat noises tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was absolutely hilarious. That was them basically clowning and making fun of the lukewarm corporate suit fan base that filters Scotiabank Arena, the Toronto, where apparently, and someone actually said it during the game last night, that there's people that a friend of mine was actually at the game with his dad and his brother and his brother's wife. They were at the game. They're big Leaf fans. I saw two guys with suits on in front of us. They were there for the first period, came back to our seats after the first intermission. Those guys were gone, and they never came back. In the whole second period, they were gone. They weren't even in their seats. They disappeared. Yeah. So it's like they probably went off to some little bar or little mini restaurant inside Scotiabank Arena, sipping their red wine, Chardonnay, the little wine and cheese crowd. They made up it, and probably just, prattling on about business shit or who the fuck knows, and probably couldn't give two squats about that hockey game last night. And that's unfortunately the crowd you get, and it resonates on TV, and especially then Tampa took the lead, and that was just a very silent building the rest of the way.
And what did we both say at the beginning of this in the playoff preview? We said the key for Toronto to win this series would have to be the crowd being engaged like this is a playoff series, and they just simply haven't. They've just been treating this like same old hat, and in turn, the Leafs have been treating this like same old hat. That's just the way it goes, And I also found it kind of ironic that Biz was kind of throwing the jab in there about the Oyster Perpetual when I pretty much saw him give out a bunch of Rolexes to all the people he worked with at Spitty Chicklets, but. Yeah. Never mind. Hypocrisy is the name of the game over there, isn't it? It's just a bad look. It's a bad look. If you're a team that's trying to break through, look at the Hawks. Okay, hell, look at Pittsburgh. Teams that went through long struggles to finally get quality teams, and then they won championships. But what was the biggest factor was the crowd. The crowds were always engaged. When the Madhouse of Madison was the Madhouse, there wasn't a stronger home ice advantage in the entire league. Same thing with PPG Paints Arena, the old Mellon Center. That place was rocking and rolling for those big time games, and it was because the fans believed. And it, like I said, when you have this kind of losing for such a long time, it trickles down from top to bottom. Everybody has to buy in, from the owner to the fan wearing the jersey in his seat buying popcorn. And as far as I'm concerned, it hasn't trickled down. The trickle down has been, no response.
Yeah, and exactly. And like I say, just more of the same from the Toronto Maple Leafs at playoff time last night. And now they'll have another chance to rectify it tomorrow night. But how confident is anybody in them to do that? going into Game 6 tomorrow night in Tampa Bay. And then the last game of the night, Winnipeg, Vegas, just undermanned, beaten down physically, beaten down mentally, and just no match at all for the Vegas Golden Knights last night, where the Winnipeg Jets 4-1 final score. You know what? There was an even bigger story about the game, and look, it was domination. They've got the better depth up front, the better depth on the blue line. And look, even Laurent Brossoit, he deserves a shit ton of credit. He outplayed the guy that he backed up in Winnipeg for a couple of years in Connor Hellebuck. And Laurent Brossoit was absolutely terrific in net. Eichel had a good series. Stone had a good series when he came back. William Karlsson, I think that's what's very, very scary about teams that play Vegas moving forward. William Karlsson didn't have a good regular season. Man, has he found it in the playoffs again. He's got his offense back, cashed a big plus 330 goal prop with him last night. He is rolling here in the playoffs offensively. It's been good to see. Vegas is dangerous, man. They really are. And especially with, as long as Laurent Brossoit doesn't, just fall apart on us, this is another team that you've got to put them in the mix to be in the Stanley Cup final. They could be there, if Laurent Brossoit can maintain this level of play. But for everyone that was on either a third period over or a full game over last night with the Jets and the Golden Knights, that's bad beat central. My goodness. You actually think, look, I wasn't feeling good about it when it was 4-0 going into the third, because I figured they're way behind. Vegas is going to just sit on the lead. They're not even going to pull the goalie, down 4 goals. But sure enough, our guy, Rick Bowness, tried to help us out. He tried to throw us a bone, if you will. Bones, throwing us a bone, last night in that game. He's pulling Connor Hellebuck, probably knowing we're not coming back anyway, with 8 fucking minutes to go in the third period last night. I'm thinking, holy shit. We got 8 minutes with the net empty. We're going to get at least the fucking 2 goals we need for the push with the third period over. Now, it takes a couple of minutes, but Kyle Connor gets them on the board, 4-1. Nice for him to finally show up last night. It took a while, but he finally got noticeable with that 4-1 goal. And I'm thinking, we still got 5 minutes to go. They're obviously going to keep the net empty. And sure enough, the Jets make it 4-2, but oh, no, they don't, because the goal gets challenged by Bruce Cassidy, and it was the right call. It was a hand that made contact with the puck, and it took the goal back, and it was still 4-1. So we still need 1 goal for the push, 2 goals for the win. And then Winnipeg is just missing the net time and time again. Overpass. Shoot the fucking puck, guys. You're down 3 goals. Holy shit. And they're passing the puck around. It's ridiculous. And they're missing the net when they do shoot it. And then Vegas, no effort barely to try to score in the empty net with a 4-1 lead. And just such a frustrating fucking way to see that bet crumble, was seeing it end 4-1 like that. So very, very unfortunate there. It is what it is. Not much you can do. I mean, it was that close to being a perfect night with the third period overs and elimination games, because the third period over did cash in the Tampa-Toronto elimination game, but it fell short in Winnipeg, Vegas. And we can't not talk about that game last night without Hurricane Rick Bowness, after that hockey game last night. Irate to say the fucking least. Mic drop time from Rick Bowness. Check this out.
No questions? Good.
Just overall thoughts on that one.
Overall thoughts? I'm so disappointed and disgusted right now. That's my thoughts.
Where does the disgust come from?
Pardon me?
Where does the disgust come from?
No pushback. But it's the same crap we saw in February. It was. That's why so as soon as we were challenging for first place and teams were coming after us, we had no pushback. This series, we had no pushback. Their better players are so much better than ours. It's not even close.
Feels like you've been holding these feelings on for a bit. Is it just after tonight's game, or finally wanting to release that?
It started back in January and February.
What is it about this team's leadership core or the top end players we've talked about?
We got to push back. There's got to be a pushback. There's got to be pride. You got to be able to push back when things aren't going your way. We had no pushback. Their better players were so much better than ours tonight. They deserved to win. They were the better team in the regular season. They were the better team in this series. Anything else? Good. Thanks.
Heyo. And I have never seen a coach do that in the mere moments after his team's season ends, that he's ripping them essentially when their seasons just ended. And I don't know if I've seen in that moment, that spot where your season's come to an end, that a coach has just taken his team to task publicly in the post-game press conference. Unreal. And obviously the issues that plagued them late in the season, we thought maybe they got corrected because they snuck into the playoffs, but apparently not. They reared their ugly head. And look, Rick Bowness clearly wasn't having any of it with the injury excuses. No Morrissey, no Scheifele. They only got Ehlers back last night. He clearly felt the effort was pathetic. He thought, like no pushback. He only said pushback 7 times, by the way, in that press conference. Clearly not happy. And that is a message that he is sending, that if I'm going to be back as the coach next year, either the GM's got to go or the ownership's got to, and both of them, if Cheveldayoff stays on or Mark Chipman, the owner, they've got to make some changes with the roster. This roster and Rick Bowness will not coexist, and there are going to be changes. Everyone in Winnipeg is saying it's blow it up time. Scheifele, he may be gone. Who knows about Wheeler, who's, again, best days are behind him. Pierre-Luc Dubois, I don't think, wants any part of staying in Winnipeg. There's going to be some significant changes with the Jets, and even Hellebuck is not a sure thing to be back in Winnipeg next year. It's a turning point moment for the Winnipeg Jets franchise right now. And I think Rick Bowness just ignited the spark that's going to light the bomb of an explosion with the roster. There's going to be changes.
Yeah. And if I'm Chipman, I go down and I put everybody in the locker room and I say, if your name is not Connor, Hellebuck, or Morrissey, pack your shit and get the fuck out. That's the way I do that. You get rid of Cheveldayoff, you get rid of Bowness, you get rid of all these other players who've just been lollygagging and bullshitting, like you said, from January and February on. Remember, this team was not that great of a team, okay? They had one of the best goaltenders in the world, and they were able to ride some hot streaks in a up-and-down division and find their way into the playoffs. And we said the reason why they had a shot in this series or any playoff series is because of Hellebuck. And the whole reason why they looked good in the games that they did and won that one game was because of Connor Hellebuck. Everything else really kind of just, falls to the wayside with this team. And they have to rebuild with those pieces. But Bowness isn't the answer. I mean, he's the dinosaur at this point. I didn't think he was in that same realm with some of these other coaches that just the game has kind of passed him on. And it's not as bad as some other older coaches, but it's only going to get worse. So don't even bother trying to do a rebuild or salvage what you have with him. And certainly not with Cheveldayoff. It's amazing that Cheveldayoff was one of the few people who still held on to his job after everybody else that was involved in 2010 and the Hawks got cleared out. So that alone should have been grounds for him getting fired. But now on top of this, you really didn't build much shit. Like, it's time for him to go. He's done a great job. He's a good GM overall. I mean, I've personally met the guy when I was a kid when he ran the Wolves back in the day. So I have no ill will toward him, but he's just not doing his job well. And he needs to go, and they need a change. And rebuild is much needed in Winnipeg right now.
Yeah, and it's going to happen. There's no question. There's going to be massive changes, and that was sending a message not as much to the players. Probably already know how Rick Bowness is thinking about how the way they didn't push back, as he said, much of the regular season when things got. He's right though. When they got to the point where they had that great start to the year and they got to first place, and teams were starting to play them like, "Hey, this is Winnipeg. This is a first place club. We got to bring our best." And that's when Winnipeg started to struggle. They were getting teams' best shot every night, and they weren't matching it. They weren't responding. And we saw it in the regular season. We saw it all series. I don't give two shits about the injuries. They could have given a better effort than that against the Vegas Golden Knights, and it just did not happen collectively as a group.
They feasted off the Sisters of the Poor in their own division, in their own conference, and then they had Hellebuck steal them about 10, 12 games during the season, and that's what picked up their record. They're fraudulent.
Yeah. And I think Rick Bowness kind of senses that, and he's looking for changes. And believe me, changes are going to happen in Winnipeg this offseason. All right. Maybe there's going to be some changes this offseason with a few teams that might get knocked out tonight in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And, of course, the New York Islanders are one team that might get knocked out tonight as they once again try to stave off elimination, hosting the Carolina Hurricanes, UBS Arena for Game 6. Islanders minus 120, home favorites, 5.5 the total. In this one, I have a small bet on the Islanders, a little and more on the draw. That's the way I'm going to approach it. An Islanders draw split, but I do feel a little bit better about the draw. Now, keep in mind, Carolina finally broke the road playoff losing streak, which dated back to the start of last year at Game 1 against Boston. They had lost every road playoff game up until Game 4 of this series against the Islanders. So maybe there's confidence for Carolina to, end this series on the road. They showed the ability, obviously, but I'm going to have to see it, though, still before I believe it here with the Hurricanes. The Islanders, certainly. What I like about their Game 5 win is, first of all, Sorokin was absolutely phenomenal in net for the Islanders in that victory. But what I liked is that Brock Nelson had a big game. Matthew Barzal, now a few games back from returning to the lineup. He had his best game, I thought, in Game 5. So some of the better Islander forwards really stepped up in that game, and maybe now it gives them momentum now going back home against the Carolina Hurricanes. I don't like the way Carolina at times, defensively, they've had a couple issues. If the Islanders stay out of the box, they haven't been that bad 5-on-5, but power play, penalty issues have been a real thing for the Islanders in this series. They've got to stay out of the box. That's very important because they have had some issues, obviously, with the penalty kill so far in this series. So that'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But, I like the Islanders a little bit. I like the draw especially, though. And again, you can get a really nice price with that. And make sure you try to place the draw bets, at least if you can. If you have access to FanDuel, it really has become the best price out there for any draw bet. And plus 330 is what you can get there with the draw in this game. And then as far as props go, it's going to be a very prop-heavy night for me, especially, there's some really good shots on goal things that are popping up in a lot of these games. We have to start with Brent Burns right now for Carolina. Over 3.5 shots. He's been basically an automatic, 4+ shots on goal for Brent Burns. He had 4 shots on goal in the first period of Game 5. So Brent Burns for Carolina over shots on goal. You go back to the well there with that. I think on the Islanders side of the equation, this could be a night for Nelson. And even Barzal, I could see him stepping up his shot production here going into this game tonight. But, maybe Natchez for Carolina. But Brent Burns for sure is my number one player prop option in this game tonight. As far as the goal props and the point props, I'm not overthinking it with the Islanders. It's going to have to be Nelson. It's going to have to be Barzal. It's going to have to be those top players. And they've shown that here the last couple of games, stepping up for them. And then on the Carolina side, Stefan Nason, man, continues just to be undervalued. He should have scored in the last game, but he had a goal taken away from him due to a offside challenge. But Stefan Nason continues to be one of the top offensive producers here for Carolina in this series. I think definitely his props continue to be worth a look going into tonight and Game 6. Mackenzie McEachern, if you're interested in this angle, he's up to the top line, it looks like, with Sebastian Aho and Seth Jarvis for Carolina. So if you're looking for maybe a little undervalued player prop, maybe you look at Mackenzie McEachern, who's going to get that opportunity. And keep in mind, this guy scored back in Game 4 in that 5-2 win for Carolina against the Islanders. He had a goal and an assist, 2 points in that game. So Mackenzie McEachern for Carolina might be, your undervalued bargain bin player prop tonight as far as the Hurricanes are concerned, getting that promo and that bump up to the top line tonight. I'm seeing plus 550 and some books at for McEachern to score a goal here tonight in this game, which is a pretty damn good price, all things considered. Alex, what do you think here? Game 6, Hurricanes Islanders.
Yeah, so obviously our home series play was toast. And one of the things I did take a small shot on, I didn't even give this out to clients or anything. This is just a personal play, was the series to go 7 games. So that's live. I have that in pocket. But the thing I'm looking at now is the Islanders to win the series and Islanders in Game 6. And it's more of just a reactionary play. I got plus 300 for the Islanders to win the series. Chances are I'm already laying a price here at 120. If they win and go on the road Game 7, I'm probably going to be laying 120, if not more, even though Carolina will be the home team. So getting myself some value locked in with that. I think the Owls, like I said, it's the same thing I'm going to be doing more than likely with Tampa Bay now at this point against Toronto. I'm betting on a goalie to steal me 2 games. And there's only a few goalies in the league you can do that with. Ilya Sorokin's one of them. Andre Vasilevsky's the other. So that's basically the way I'm playing this. That's the handicap, is that I'm betting on Ilya Sorokin to steal me 2 games. Because of how this, especially with this, because of how this series has been so low scoring, so back and forth. All it takes is one break here or there to give a team a chance. So that's it. Owls minus 120 and Owls plus 300 to win the series.
Yeah, I should point out I'm also sprinkling. Well, at 5, I would have sprinkled on the full game over, but it's 5.5. At 5.5, I'd stay off the full game over. But I am going to rock with the third. I'm on the third period over in every game. I'll just say it right now. I don't even have to go into it with the next games. I'm on the third period over in every single game tonight. They're all elimination games. I believe in that theory. It should have went 2-0 last night because the Jets and Golden Knights should have went over in the third, but it went over with Toronto and Tampa Bay, and it's over 2 plus 128, by the way, at Bet Rivers. Bet Rivers is where you want to go for
That's
the
a
third
great
period
price.
totals. It's a great price. Over 2 plus 128 in the third period for Hurricanes and Islanders in this game, and should be interesting. And I think there's something else I wanted to point. Yeah, Sorokin over saves. You would think, and normally when I look at game script, especially when the team that's facing elimination, I expect the team facing elimination to be carrying the play. Carolina doesn't allow the other team to carry the play. It always seems to be Carolina that's got the more shots. They have the puck more. So I even with the Islanders facing elimination, you'd think they're going to outshoot Carolina. No, I still think Carolina might outshoot the Islanders because that's been the pattern in this series. So I like Ilya Sorokin over saves for the New York Islanders tonight. We have our guy, Jimmy Murphy, with us, and we'll get to it, an unexpected Game 6 coming up with the Bruins and the Panthers tonight. But, Jimmy, how are things, and what do you think here at Canes and Islanders?
Things are good, my man. How about you?
Going good. It's going well. I mean, we've got a lot of series. Look, we thought some of these series would be over by now. It was kind of shocking that Vegas only becoming the first team to clinch here in the first round last night. But a lot of series we thought might have been over in Game 5 are not, including this one. How do you see it playing out tonight?
Yeah, who had Bruce Cassidy advancing before Jim Montgomery on their bingo card? Not me. I'll tell you that. It'll be interesting if they eventually meet up, but the Bruins got to get past the Panthers first. We'll talk about that in a bit. But as far as this game goes, I'm like Alex. I like the Islanders in this series, guys. I had them in 7 as well to pull off the upset. So I'm going to stick with it. I'm going with the Islanders. Just straight up money line in this. They'll tie the series and force a Game 7.
Wait, what price did you get that for the Isles to win the series?
I even forget. Let me see.
I think it was pre-series though. You bet it, right?
Yeah, pre-series. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you're not gonna hedge off of Carolina?
No.
Okay.
I'm just going straight up with this game right now.
There you go. I think this is dangerous because we know that UBS Arena crowd environment can, really spur this Islanders team on. We'll see if that can happen here tonight. All right, let's go to Boston and Florida. Game 6, and I thought it was going to be over in Game 5. Certainly Boston controlled the flow, controlled the offensive zone time, puck possession time, heavily outshot the Florida Panthers. All it takes is one bad gaffe and miscue in overtime, and that can change things. And that's exactly what we saw in the Matthew Tkachuk goal. We've obviously talked about it a lot. And I said this on a show earlier today with Jimmy the Bag on Pub Sports Radio. I'm going to say it again. If you're putting all the blame on Linus Ullmark, he's got to be better there. But the Boston Bruin players have to make themselves an outlet to receive a pass from the goaltender in that spot. And so it's collective blame.
Yeah.
A lot goes to Ullmark, but we've got to give the players that were on the ice with him some blame as well. Grizzlick as well, 100%. So we can't put it all on Linus Ullmark following that cataclysmic mistake, which they will have the chance to earn some redemption for tonight, and I think they will. If there's one, like I said, if there's one team that's going to be able to park that, move on from it, be strong, and take care of business, just put the work boots on and play your game and bounce back from it, it's Boston. It's the experience. It's Patrice Bergeron, who is an incredible temperament to handle a situation like this as the leader and the captain of this team. Linus Ullmark in the great post-game interview. I'm glad I saw it, and Jimmy posted the links to it. Because I was worried. I said he's going to have a sleepless night. Then I see the post-game interview, and I'm like, man, this guy's reacting to it just in the great way you want to see him react to something like that. Calm, just forget about it. Be ready for the next game, him and the team collectively, and that's the attitude you want. And I think it's the attitude you're going to see from the Bruins. This, to me, is the series ender. Boston's had no issue going into Florida and winning in this series. That's not one of the scarier home ice advantages in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Boston can take advantage here. I like them at a plus price around plus 120 with the Bruins -1 on the puck line. I'm on Bruins team total over 3.5, which is around -105. A very good price with that. I'm on the full game over again in this series, over 6 -120. And of course, we're also going to be on the third period over specifically in this game tonight. And that, I believe, is a good price as well at Bet Rivers. You got to lay -140 at some books with over 2 in the third. Bet Rivers has it over 2 -120. So it's a much better price with that there. Wow. So really, really good with that over 2 in the third period, -120. So 4 bets side in total. Bruins -1, Bruins team total over, full game over 6. and third period over. And then I haven't even gotten to the props yet, and I'm going prop crazy here in this game. Brad Marchand, shots on goal and to score a goal. Yeah, I think he can do both. He went over his shot prop in the last game for the Bruins at home. I think he does so again here tonight in this game. You know, Patrice Bergeron comes back for his first game in this year's playoffs. He had 6 shots on goal, by the way, against Florida the other night. Do you know he's gone over 2.5 shots on goal in every playoff game since the beginning of last year? All 7 games against Carolina, Bergeron went over 2.5 shots.
Wow, that's a great stat, man.
It's a great stat. And the last game he had 6 in the overtime loss against Florida. And again, we're seeing his shots on goal prop going into game 6 tonight in Florida, a very reasonable over 2.5. They raised the juice a bit, -165. So that's up from the -130 we saw the last game. And some books have actually moved it to 3.5. But I'm telling you what, I like the 2.5 better, but the 3.5, if you want to take a shot at the plus money, he could still go over that because he had 6 in the playoff game this year with Florida, and last year, even in last year's first round against Carolina, he had more 4+ shots than not playoff games in the 7 that were played against Carolina. So Bergeron definitely overshots, and I'm gonna say it right now. It's time. It feels time for a pasta kind of night. I think it feels like the Italian cuisine is going to be humming in Sunrise, Florida tonight. You're going to get the beautiful bolognese, a little spaghetti, a little rigatoni, and whatever you want. I think we're going to see it served to the Florida Panthers tonight.
He's a bolognese man, by the way, Ian. Pasta. Yeah. He's a big bolognese.
Yeah, exactly. And look, he's talking about shooting the puck a lot more. The quote was coming into this game. He wants to shoot it. Don't overthink it. Don't hesitate. So I like the over 4.5 shots on goal for Pasta tonight, which he's actually not been, he was automatic in the regular season going over 4.5 shots. Not so much the last few games. I think tonight's the night. He has 5 or more shots. So I like over 4.5 -112 shots on goal and him to score a goal too, which is +105. Best price out there for that. So it's a high volume game for yours truly here, Bruins and Panthers. Alex, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I got a few plays as well. Not getting that heavy on the props, but definitely like those looks there. Like I said, I think Boston wraps this thing up. Enough screwing around. They're here for business.
Connection issues there for Alex. And the one that I didn't mention is I like Bergeron over shots, but Bergeron to get a point and a goal, clearly, he obviously had that beautiful redirection tip-in goal in game 5, rather. The point prop is only -135, by the way, on Bergeron to get a point here in the game tonight. And, of course, +205 to score a goal. So I think it's those are the guys. Focus on them. Bergeron, Marchand, Pasternak. They're going to – and with a little dash of Taylor Hall, which I'm also going to look at tonight because the guy is he's playing great. He's playing great. He's Mr. Clutch right now in the playoffs, which at times he hasn't always been. But, man, what a series he's had. And he's still upwards of +275 to +300 in some books to find the back of the net tonight. That's Taylor Hall for the Bruins. I will probably have a couple smaller bets on Florida goal props because I do think Tkachuk, don't overthink it. Tkachuk's been noticeable. Who's going to score tonight for Florida, if anybody, it'll be him. It might be Verhaeghe because even though he didn't score the other night, he had a good game. And the other guy is Sam Bennett. Man, this guy has really, really stepped up. I like his shots on goal over tonight because he's gone over his shot prop in every game, I think, since he's joined this series for the Florida Panthers. And he's found the back of the net in consecutive games. So I like the goal prop once again on Sam Bennett as well. That's a lot, but there's a lot I like here on this game from a betting standpoint. Jimmy, what do you think here, Boston, Florida?
Yeah, I'm on board with pretty much everything you're saying there. But as far as the game goes, I'm going to do a little Jimmy puck line, taking the Bruins -1.5 here. It's time. This team, good run by the Panthers. I respect their grit and their guts. And look, Matthew Tkachuk, love him or hate him, he's had an amazing series. He's an amazing player. Definitely a Hart Trophy candidate. But the Bruins are just a better team, and that's hands down. And eventually, the cream rises to the top, and that's what's going to happen tonight. I like the Bruins to finish this off. Another one I like, guys, I'm with you there too. You said Taylor Hall, but you talk about Pasternak. Yeah, I think he's poised for a big game. I'm going to even take it as far as picking him as the first goal scorer of the whole game. You get him at +750. Why the hell not? I think he's due. I think he's going to come out with purpose, with intent. and he's going to look like the Pasternak that scored 61 goals. So again, I'm on all the picks you had there in the Bruins with the props, but I also like Paster as a first goal scorer in the game.
There we go. I mean, this is just a really good prop game, and it's not that I'm just degenerate city here. It's just that these props came to me. They popped out at me. I'm not chasing after them. It's like they're really good looks.
And Taylor Hall, you got to keep riding Taylor Hall. I mean, it's money right now. He is on fire. You could see it coming. I think the last time I spoke to you guys, right? I said, watch out for him, man. He's coming. He's picking his game up, and then boom, you could see it coming. So he's been huge for them. You could argue, if not for him right now, maybe the Bruins are the ones facing elimination. So he has been that important to this Bruins team in this series.
Absolutely. And like I said, too, like I said, I'm also going to be on, as I mentioned, a couple props for Florida, because I do think they'll chip in a little bit. But and I actually had a hunch, and I should point this out too. There's one I might just for a little extra sprinkle, because I went late in the game, or late before the game, in Game 5. I saw that Anthony Duclair was not only returning but was going to be on the top line with Barkov for Florida, and I said, man, he's going to be on the top line. And I saw plus 520 on him to score a goal, and I hopped on it. And sure enough, what happened? He scored for the Florida Panthers in Game 5. So Anthony Duclair, on that top line, that's not a bad bargain bin option as well in the goal prop market. And Sam Bennett, who has been on red hot since he's come back, he's plus 340 at FanDuel, to score a goal tonight for the Panthers. He scored in 3 of the 4 games in this series for the Florida Panthers, and he has a point in each game as well. And like I said, he's gone over 2.5 shots on goal in every game, and the over 2.5 is still minus 165. Juice getting up there, but decent. And if you want to be more conservative, you don't like the goal prop plus 340. The point prop is minus 105, on Sam Bennett. So, and he's had a point in every game in this series for the Panthers. We got Alex back with us. Alex, Bruins, Panthers, Game 6.
Yeah, I got cut off, and thankfully the laptop update was ready, so I'm back to the regular spot. But yeah, I like the Bruins here. They're going to close out and fucking around, take care of business here. I like them in regulation. I got minus $1.05, which I thought was just a very, very cheap price. I just don't feel like overtime is in the cards for this game. Even if Florida were forced in Game 7, I feel like they would do that in regulation. So if you like a side here, if you like Florida, take a small shot with the regulation price, I think. But I like the Bees here to win in regulation. Also have that third period over. I laid the $1.40 because I don't have a Bet Rivers account, but I will try to rectify that certainly with some of those prices now that we're seeing that. But so if you have a Rivers account, by all means, that's where you want to go for your third period overs pregame. Even at $1.40, I think that's a good price. There's only 3 third period overs I like. I do like the plus money with Isles and Canes, and I also like one later. But so I just have to mark that down for the show purposes. But third period over here and Bruins to win in regulation. This, like I said, Florida, they've given a valiant effort, but it's just not going to be enough. I think Boston's just going to overpower them in all facets of the game tonight.
And you also have the goalie Bob factor, and he was very good in Game 5 in Boston. But how many times have we seen the best of goalie Bob? And for the last couple of years, it hasn't been a second straight great performance. It's been, the other goalie Bob shows up the next game, the not so good version. And it wouldn't totally shock me if we see that tonight for the Florida Panthers here in this game. But yeah, I think it ends tonight in 6, and the Boston Bruins will finally advance here in this one. All right, that is the first 2 games. We got the 2 Western Game 6s coming up in just a moment. Shout out to everyone on YouTube, 200 live viewers. Hit the like button, and shout out to our podcast listeners as well. We'll be back in a moment to talk Stars Wild and Avalanche Kraken coming up right after we hear from Gramco.
Support for the Ice Guys is brought to you by Gramco. Whether you or your team's game is on the field, screen, racetrack, court, or the ice, Gramco is for the game. Grown by farmers who spent years developing premium hemp genetics, Gramco provides customers with consistent quality Delta-8 THC products ready for any occasion. Gramco currently offers numerous Delta-8 products, including vape cartridges, disposable vapes, pre-rolls, gummies, wake and bake coffee, and more. Gramco offers an enjoyable, legal high delivered discreetly and directly to you. Gramco is also available at many American retailers as well. You can get the best Delta-8 cannabis products on the market shipped quickly and discreetly from Gramco. And if you visit www.thegramco.com. Use promo code Ice Guys. You will get 20% off of every order, and any order that's on the site over $50 will be shipped free with standard shipping. So live elevated with Gramco and check out their wonderful Delta 8 products today.
All right, we are back, and it is time to turn our attention to the Western Conference side of the equation. Dallas Stars and Minnesota Wild, even money, -110 both sides, 5.5 the total here in this game. We always say a playoff series is a war of attrition, and I definitely think you're seeing some signs of that here in this series. Dallas getting stronger as the series goes on, sort of inflicting their will a little bit. They've won 2 straight. And there's a lot of things that are going nicely for Dallas. Their top players are stepping up. Tyler Seguin's been monster here the last few games in this series. Great to see it. Jamie Benn's been good. Jason Robertson got off the schneid finally in Game 5 in the victory in Dallas. The top players for the Stars are rising to the forefront for them, which is great to see. And there was, believe it or not, a little bit of speculation that maybe, just maybe, Mr. Clutch, Joe Pavelski, might be ready to return tonight for the Dallas Stars. He's a game-time decision, last I checked, for them going into Game 6 tonight, so keep our eye on that. No decision has been made yet, but we'll have to wait and see. But Joe Pavelski's return potentially in the series right around the corner. On the Minnesota side of things, obviously they've seen things kind of get awry from them. Eriksson Ek, is probably not back again tonight from what I've seen for the Minnesota Wild. And of course, he's missed the faceoffs. They've been punished the last few games, the Minnesota Wild, and they obviously miss Eriksson Ek on the faceoff circle. Obviously at both ends of the ice, not only his offense, but his defense. Clearly one of the better defensive forwards in the NHL, and certainly on this team, the best maybe defensive forward. So he has missed dearly. And then you look at their offensive game breakers. Where's Kirill the Thrill? He's not thrilling anybody the last couple of games for the Wild. He's been silenced. He's been held down. That's not good. It's been cooling off a little bit for Zuccarello the last few games. And by the way, I want to point this out. Zuccarello and Hartman did not practice yesterday for Minnesota. You got to think they're nursing something significant injury-wise, and I think they are definitely hobbling both of those guys right now for the Minnesota Wild. It's the playoffs, your Warriors, you fight through things, but they definitely look like they're not 100%. The guy that's been disappointing to me the most for Minnesota is Matt Boldy. He really has not done much in this series, and he's got to find it somehow starting tonight in a must-win game for the home team here for the Minnesota Wild. But I don't think this series goes beyond tonight. I think it ends tonight. I like Dallas here, -110, even money in this game. I like the way they're playing. Their defense is playing better. Their top guns are starting to fire now. And Jake Ottinger had in the last 2 games, man, he has turned it into Jake Ottinger of last year in the first round against Calgary, stopping everything in sight. He was remarkable in Game 4 in the road win in Minnesota. The only goals that beat him were, broken plays. They had no chance. And then, of course, he had the Game 5 shutout against Minnesota the other night. He's playing at the highest level, the level we know he can raise it to, and he has done that. So Dallas for me at even money to end it. And I like the third period over only, not the full game over, just the third period over here in this. Like I said, I'm on the third period over in every game tonight. All these elimination games, we're sticking with that theory that's been so good to us over the last few years. But again, you're getting a pretty good price as well tonight with this Dallas and Minnesota third period over, which at, again, Bet Rivers, which has become my go-to for third period overs. It's over 2 at +122 with that third period over in the Stars Wild. I almost did the over 1.5, but it was -165. Still a little bit too juicy. So I went with the over 2 +122 for the third period over at Bet Rivers with Dallas and Minnesota. Alex, Stars and Wild, I think I know where you're going.
Yeah, I mean, you look outside here in St. Paul, it's cold, kind of damp and blustery. It's almost like a funeral vibe to the town a little bit. And I think that's what they're gearing up for. Another funeral, another Wild season being laid to rest. I like Dallas here. I laid the $1.05. I'm on that the third period over. I got even money with the over 2. But definitely, like I said, Bet Rivers is a place to go for those. Most definitely. Don't like the first period of full game over here in this spot. Like I said, I think it's going to be kind of a tight pace. And the biggest thing to watch for, and I more than likely will be adding this, we're going and put it down, Dallas to score first. Anything minus $1.30 or better, I'm going to be on that. And the reason why is because it is imperative to take the air out of that crowd at Soldier Center. It's going to be electric, and then as soon as the anthems are over, or the anthem is over, and the bright lights come on, it's going to be tense, and it's going to be this just kind of, hold on for dear life, roller coaster kind of a feel until someone scores. And if Dallas is the team to score first, that energy is going to just be completely negative and just float throughout that crowd. I've been in that building for an elimination game. And even when the team was coming back late in the third period, it still just wasn't enough. You could just tell once the air gets taken out of that building, it's gone. And that's what Dallas has to do. They have to score here early. So give me them to score first to win the game and get the third period over at even money.
All right. Like it. Like all those looks for sure. As far as shot props tonight, I would stick with, I think Kaprizov's got to let it rip tonight. So I like over 3.5 shots. And now the puck hasn't been going in for him, but I do like him to get over 3.5 shots on goal tonight. Ottinger saves might be a pretty good look tonight in this game as well. And on the Dallas side, not only Seguin to score a goal, but I think he's gone over 2.5 shots on goal in every game in this series for Dallas, Tyler Seguin. So, and he had it quickly in the last game. I think he had 3 shots in the first period of game 5. So Tyler Seguin, back to the well we go, over 2.5 shots on goal for him in this game 6 as well. Jimmy, what do you think here with game 6, Dallas, Minnesota?
Yeah, you know what? I'm with you on the Seguin there. You got to ride him while he's hot. He's been a great story. Obviously not here in Boston. People are going to talk about him being a great story, but good for him. He's found his game again. But I'm not with you on the other one, guys. In the words of Chris Berman, you're all on the Stars. Wild, 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 boys. Give me 7 heaven. Wow. Minnesota Wild. And not even am I going to take him on the money line. Oh, yes. I'm going Jimmy Murphy, alternate puck line.
Wow.
Minnesota Wild. Give me that value. We're going back to Dallas to the Big D for game 7.
Are you trying to turn Derry Edelman's day around or something? Is that what you're doing there with that decision to take the Wild? And by the way, though, if you do like Minnesota in the alternative puck line, man, the price for that is plus 230. So not a bad price there at all if you like the Wild there to get the job done here at home. Now, all I know, and Alex can back me up on this, is that Minnesota's had more losses in elimination games at home than wins in their recent memory. So let's see if they can change things around here tonight against Dallas, who to me still are the better of these two teams. But we'll see. We'll see. Gustafson's got to be immense tonight too. His play has kind of stumbled a little bit the last 2 games, especially in Dallas in game 5. Let's see if he can get it back.
They need that blue line, 2 guys to step up. A little offense from the back end there would be nice. I think those guys got to step up right now. But I just like the Wild, man. They're a resilient team. They're a pesky team. I think, I was actually talking to a Dallas Stars employee who's based here in Boston. He scouts a lot of games around here, and he was at the game the other night, and we were just talking about this series, and he's like, I hate to say it, but it's still going 7. So that's a Dallas guy telling me that. They are that respecting the Wild. They realize that this isn't going to just be some easy cakewalk in this game. So I think I think they're going down fighting, and I think they force a game 7.
But he also remembers that it's the Minnesota Wild in the playoffs, right?
There's always a counter argument, to everything. There's no question. But and I have Dallas in the. I was debating whether I got Dallas in the series. Do I really need to bet this? And I said, I'm going to bet it. I just like what I've seen from the Stars here the last 2 games. And like I say, Minnesota, the Kaprizov's got to show up. If he does, and Gustafsson has his best game of the series, it is going to go back to Dallas for game 7. But those are, big ifs, and we'll see if they transpire tonight. All right, speaking of a big if that Colorado can win games consistently without Big Val Nichushkin. My goodness, who's obviously going to be out again tonight, but they do get Cale Makar back from his 1-game suspension. It is Colorado, Seattle, game 6. What an environment an atmosphere it could be at Climate Pledge Arena tonight. I mean, really, when you think about it, that home crowd with a chance for this franchise to clinch their first ever playoff series victory on home ice. It should be rocking in the Emerald City. Colorado minus 155, road favorites, 6 the total in this game. This is a very tough side. I have a pinch on the draw here, and that's about it. I don't want to lay $1.55 with Colorado on the road. I don't, even with Makar coming back, because without either one or both of Makar and Nichushkin, this is a 500 and even below 500 team in terms of their record. So it hasn't been great. Makar is a huge boost. We know that. There's no doubt. They're going to have the puck more. They're going to be able to transition from defense to offense much better. And it's certainly going to help the Avalanche's chances tonight. But the fact remains, Seattle's been toe-to-toe with this team. Going back to the regular season, Seattle outplayed this team, and really, or at least was right there with them. I mean, every game was tough. It's been that way here in the playoffs too. And I just like the way they're playing, and I respect them enough. And to me, this is just too disrespectful a price to take Colorado. It's too disrespectful to put Seattle out there as a plus 135 home underdog when they've been toe-to-toe all season, regular season and playoffs combined against this Colorado Avalanche team. So I'm just going to sprinkle on the draw, and I'm going to look at the third period over. Those are going to be the primary bets here for me in this one, other than props. And I do like a few props here, but third period over in this one, which I lean full game over, but I really, really do prefer the third period over in this game. And again, you can get it at a pretty good price here as well, the third period over for the Avalanche and the Kraken. So over 2 at I believe a slight plus price as well. So keep that in mind. So definitely third period over, shop around, find it at Bet Rivers there. And then as far as the props go for this one tonight, I mean, certainly I broken record, but if you're going to bet anyone on Colorado, you bet Nate McKinnon and you bet Mikko Rantanen. I mean, those are the guys that have been carrying the mail all series long for the Colorado Avalanche. Makar, I think, overshots. I think he'll be an active, a player in terms of shot volume tonight. So overshots on goal for Cale Makar. I do like that with him returning to the lineup. On the Seattle side, look, I mentioned Jaden Schwartz in the last game, how all of a sudden this guy's just been flying over his shot prop. It's continuing. I mean, since game 2 of this series, this guy's had 3, 4, 11. He had that 11 shot on goal game, and then he had 4 in the last game, which was game 5 in Denver. And he continues to be a very reasonably priced minus 118. Jaden Schwartz for Seattle, over 2.5 shots on goal. So I think that is an excellent shot on goal prop look here tonight. Again, Jaden Schwartz for the Seattle Kraken, over 2.5 shots on goal at minus 118. So again, Makar back in, Nichushkin still out. Josh Manson, by the way, for the Avalanche, he aggravated a lower body injury in game 5, and he's very much day-to-day and questionable for tonight. So depth will be tested on that Avs blue line. And of course, Jared McCann was out for game 5 because of the hit he took from Makar, which is what got him suspended. Still day-to-day. I don't think he's going to play tonight, but hasn't totally been ruled out yet for the Seattle Kraken here in this game tonight. But should be an incredible environment in Seattle with a chance to clinch their first playoff series victory on home ice. Alex, game 6, what do you think here, Colorado, Seattle?
I'm going to use an analogy that all my Colorado people and smokers will get. When you have a vape cart and there's like a little bit left and you try to just hit it, nothing comes out. You're just not getting any more out. That's what the Colorado Avalanche are like right now. They're done. There's not much left for them to give at this point. They've had all these injuries and all these issues, and they just run out of juice and run out of steam right now. I like Seattle here to take care of business. I like them at plus 135. I also like this over 2 in the third period, minus $1.25. Somebody mentioned in the chat about 2.5 at plus 140. And I do get that because you expect Colorado to just throw everything in the wall and get the offense rolling. And the fact that they have issues and injuries on that blue line, you'd expect to see more goals. But I would just go play it safe, lay the price, and go over 2 in the third period. And I think Seattle, they're going to be celebrating tonight. First, series win in franchise history. It'll be a big moment for them.
Yeah, and this Nichushkin stuff is very disturbing. All we know is that he's been away from the team. There was an incident in a hotel room, an intoxicated woman there. We don't know if he had a personal connection. We don't know if his family member, friend, girlfriend, wife, some stranger, someone he met in town. Hooker. Yeah. Yeah, very possible. But
Come on, let's call a spade, boys. I mean, she's saying to the police that I shouldn't have listened to that man and he took my passport and I shouldn't have come to the United States.
No.
I mean, it is
There's only one thing there.
Yeah.
I
So
mean,
that's
it's horrible. It's a horrible situation, and
it's a bad distraction the hockey team doesn't need in their most important time of year. Yep.
And there's some, I haven't confirmed any of this, but I've heard some rumors, over the years about him that he's got some bad connections in Russia. Let's just put it that way. And I'm not talking, Ovechkin supporting Putin because that's pretty bad, but I'm talking like mob, So he's got some interesting side things going on that's not good, and it looks like it caught up to him.
Yeah, that's not good. And again, this is just something hanging over the team. And to be honest with you, say what you will about what he's doing off the ice, but he's an important piece of this hockey team and the way he's played since the playoffs last year. Big Val equals big distraction, says Kenny woo 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 in our chat. Yeah, definitely. That is absolutely true. But Jimmy, what do you think here? Is it over for Colorado tonight?
Yeah, this is a tough one for me. This is the toughest one on the board, guys, because
I agree.
When it's the defending Stanley Cup champion, you can never count the heart of a champion out. Just like we saw
they've been
with
Tampa Bay in elimination games too.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look at Tampa Bay and the way they fought, and even the way they fought against Colorado in that series last year. It's just tough. But I'm with you guys, and especially what Alex said there. I think it's just caught up to them. They're human beings. It's been a lot. And guys, I'm having a brain fart right now. But did they not start the season playing overseas?
No, not the beginning of the season. They had it in the middle, but it was like early October.
It was this season though, right?
November. Yeah, they 2 games in Finland. Yeah.
And I'm telling you, if you look at most of those teams,
it was Nashville and San Jose at the beginning of the season. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But I mean, Colorado did play.
Colorado, Columbus was the middle of the year though. Yeah.
Which is even worse. It screws you up. It breaks your routine. You're screwed up on the time change and all that. And it's not something they should be doing in the middle of a season. So I think that really hurt them. I really do. I'm not trying to make excuses for them, but I think it did. I mean, if you go back and you look at it, there's not many teams. I think the Bruins are the only one I can think of off the top of my head. Maybe the Blackhawks in 2010, Alex, of the teams that went overseas that have gone on to win the Cup.
Yeah, they opened the year, not in the middle.
Yeah, it wasn't in the middle. Yeah, the Bruins opened in Prague against Arizona or Phoenix then. And they won the Cup that year. But I think that hurt them. I think the injuries have caught up. I think they're human. I think the in and out of the lineup with Makar, their best player, even when he comes back, it's still you got to get back into that rhythm. So, if I'm going to have to make a pick here, I'm going to stay off this game. But if I had to make a pick, I would go Seattle. Money line, just straight up.
Right, like in Seattle. Here plus 135 to end it, and we'll see. But I think what I might sprinkle on just because of what's transpired in this series and the way things have gone is Seattle to score first goal, which they've done, I believe, in every single game in this series. In Game 1, Game 2, Game 3, and Game 4, scored the first goal in every single game in this series, and including in Game 5 in Denver the other night. So I don't know if that's going to change, and you would think they come out flying. Home ice going nuts. Chance to clinch your first playoff series in franchise history with that crowd behind you. I think, scoring the first goal of the game, Seattle Kraken, if you can bet that, do it. That's something that does appeal to me. Rather than I actually like that more than taking Seattle on the money line in that form.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm passing it because I'm on the third period over, but I wouldn't shy away from taking the first period over at 5-1 so far. 4-1 so far, sorry.
Yeah, definitely. So interesting to see how it goes tonight. That's a fascinating game. Looking forward to seeing it unfold. Like every game tonight, it's an exciting night. It's 4 elimination playoff game 6s. We're definitely looking forward to it. Hit the like button if you're watching on YouTube. We appreciate it. And shout out to our podcast listeners. Check out patreon.com/Ice Guys. Just $10 a month. Goalie charts, totals charts, power ratings, daily Ice Guys show, betting card, bonus content, and more. Check it out. Patreon.com/Ice Guys. Just $10 a month.
Check out the Ice Guys store, iceguys.myspreadshop.com. I'm not wearing this Stars jersey outside because it's probably going to start some issues. So I'm going to put on my Ice Guys hoodie after the show. And you can grab one of those or grab a T-shirt or a cap or a mug or anything else at iceguys.myspreadshop.com.
Yeah, absolutely. Plus 155 says Justin Casey in the chat for Seattle to score the first goal. That is one hell of a price for sure. Given that they're 5-0 scoring the first goal in the five straight games scoring the first goal in this series for the Seattle Kraken. All right, we got best bets coming up right after we hear from Manscaped. Support for the Ice Guys is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Their products are precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped's Performance Package, the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Join over 7 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you, 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the promo code ICEGUYS. That's promo code ICEGUYS at manscaped.com. If my math is correct, it's about 14 million balls that you can preserve. The Performance Package 4.0 is the complete accessory package to take care of everything that is required. You've got, of course, the Lawnmower 4.0. Takes care of your facial hair and among other things. You've got, of course, the Weed Whacker. I'm approaching 40. Nose hair has become a major issue. It pisses the hell out of me. I need to take care of that shit, and the Weed Whacker can help you do that. Both of these products, waterproof and a 4000K LED spotlight for a more precise shave. And you'll also be able to take care of those delicate areas with the ball toner, with the ball deodorant, keep you smelling good, looking good, and feeling good down in the nether regions. This complete Performance Package 4.0 will take care of everything for you, for all you guys out there, and it's courtesy of our good friends at manscaped.com. So get 20% off and free shipping with the promo code ICEGUYS at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. And use promo code ICEGUYS. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. All right, it is time for best bets to wrap it up. Alex, we'll start with you. What do you like for best bet?
We're going down the street, the Wild and Stars. We're going to double up with Dallas. Give me Dallas Stars minus $1.10 on the money line. Give me the third period over 2 at even money. It's just going to be fun to watch. I think Dallas comes out hot, gets that first goal, takes the air out of that crowd, goes on to win this one, get a couple of goals late to wrap up that second period, that third period over, I should say. Getting more than 2 goals, and hopefully we cash in all of our Stars props as well. Stars at 6, Stars to win the series, and I'll be playing some Pantera and drinking to celebrate that, hopefully. So give me the Dallas Stars minus $1.10, third period over 2 at even money. Those are my 2 best bets for this Friday in the NHL.
There you go. Liking it there with the Dallas Stars to get the job done tonight against the Minnesota Wild. Multiple best bets there for Alex B. Smith. Jimmy Murphy, what do you like for best bet?
I'm going the opposite of Alex there. Give me, there I am. I'm a little uglier than Alex there. So there you go. I'm going the opposite of Alex there, boys. I'm going with that puck line, reverse puck line, Minnesota Wild.
All right. Heads up there. Minnesota Wild minus 1.5 plus 230 for that Minnesota Wild puck line for Jimmy Murphy with his best bet. My best bet for tonight, it's Boston. It's just which form of Boston do I want? -1? Do I want the I'm going to go with the team total. I think that's the best route. I don't want one of these things where it's like 4-2, late in the third period for Boston, and then Florida scores with like 20 seconds left, and it ends up 4-3 final, and I push the -1, which is why I'm going to go with the team total instead on the Boston Bruins for the best bet. Boston Bruins team total over 3.5 at -105. It's a great price with that. I think they end it tonight and move on to the second round. Boston Bruins team total over 3.5 -105 for my best bet for this Friday NHL card. That'll wrap up this edition of the Ice Guys. Great stuff. We always love having Jimmy Murphy with us every Friday. It should be a great Friday night of hockey. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms: Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and more. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. For Jimmy Murphy and Alex B. Smith, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Saturday. Enjoy the games and good luck. We'll see you tomorrow for another edition of the Ice Guys presented by National Hockey Now.